About myself. So actually, prior to join Fever, I was a creator as well. I ran a startup in a digital fashion space. Was one of the main contributor to Metaverse Fashion Week. So to a very wide spectrum of immersive experience, I guess my focus was more to the technology and like 3D XR space. And I am really excited to be here today. And actually, that was one of the reasons brought me to join Fever, because I just value so much of in-person connections in real life. So thanks a lot for Immersive Experience Network to brought us together today. So in terms of the topic, for me as a creator, entrepreneur, and now the senior manager of strategy and partnership at Fever, before we start, dig into how data can inform a show's success, may I ask you, how many of you have heard about Fever? Are familiar with Fever? That's great. So let me go back to the very beginning of the slide here. Oops, a lot of review here. Thanks a lot for a lot of you who raised up the hand. But for you, probably also came across for Candlelight Concert, or for who in London, maybe you came across Secret London. Actually, that's all part of Fever's ecosystem. So for Fever's ecosystem, it includes Fever Originals, Secret Media Network, and also Fever as a technology backbone of the live entertainment space, including provide demand generation and also ticketing technology. So today, we are already available over 300 different cities globally. And here are some examples of our partners you might be familiar with as well. One of the largest exhibitions right now in town in London, F1 exhibition, or MoCo Museum, one of the leading modern art museums, just opened their door in London. Paradox Museum, or we are also the principal partner of Chelsea Football Club. In the meanwhile, Van Gogh Immersive, we have partnered with our exhibition hub, one of our partners, touring around over 40 different cities, and last year, it was sold over 1 million tickets. Also, to the more immersive experience space, the Stranger Things immersive experience, which happened also in London and also LA. Also, one of our partners, which is a leading producer in an immersive experience space, Layered Reality. So the question comes, how we empower our partners? First of all, through demand generation, to help them to identify the right audiences and also the right channel. Second of all, build a landing page that is optimized using Fever's machine learning technology here. Also, obviously, for the ticketing technology backbone. And for the ticketing technology here is we wanted to optimize the funnel as few as clicks for the customer to purchasing a ticket. For a customer, you and I today probably has very, very limited patience, which means we just wanted to purchase a ticket and we wanted to get it done as fast as we can. And secondly, as a producer or promoter, we wanted to ensure every single dollar that we spend in the demand generation, in the marketing place, that will convert to not only land in your landing page, but also the actual revenue or ticket sales. And finally, we also provide the data dashboard to help our customer, our client, to better informed decision-making process. And I will touch on that in a second. So to summarize, Fever is a data, demand generation, and also a ticketing technology company. What we do is using exactly the same approach as Netflix is empowering the online content streaming industry. For us, we are dedicated using the same approach, the data-driven approach, to empower the live entertainment space. So beyond creativity, I don't know whether this will be like a more boring part or so, but it's very important to understand how data can inform a show's success. Actually, data is used across various stages of an event's life cycle. Traditionally, we might think about data is used after the event's production. You then understand how tickets has been sold, what is a review of customers. However, the data can be used even for pre-production to help producers to de-risk where to go, where do you find the right audience, and what is the right channel to communicate with them. So, for us, we use the data insights for decision making for mainly 3 different phases. The first one is initial assessment, where we will provide the market insights based on market, event category, and also any seasonality influences. And also, this will include event specifics, such as what will be the ideal capacity, location, and also competing experiences, which is happening in the market right now. And the second phase will be the sales monitoring. Once the sales is open, we have a lot of data to have a better, agile change or iteration of things. And that we will focus on the sales conversion and also the customer preferences. This will also run rigorous A/B testing, including the marketing assets, including how customers' preference in terms of using the technology itself. And the last phase will be the event optimization. And here, we will using a very dynamic approach and also leveraging the technology such as including the dynamic pricing to also tailor to the best approach, like the customer will select different sessions, and when will be the valley session, when will be the peak session, and how do we, using the engineering, design the pricing to support that. And actually, for the optimization side, it continues for a lot of successful show. Actually, it's having a success in one local market, and when we're thinking about expanding to other markets. So you might have the question now here. For the initial assessment for pre-production, if we don't run the show, how can we get the data? How can we understand the audiences? And actually, this gives a quite unique ecosystem that Fever offers, which includes the secret media network. So for a secret media network, we have monthly around 300 million interactions globally. And just to give you a bit of comparison here, probably we used to think timeout will be the media outlet we refer to what to do in a different location. However, Secret London or Secret New York, the monthly interaction is greater than timeout globally. That is really the go-to location where people are trying to figure out what to do in different cities. And which actually is true that Fever, in terms of the secret media network, we take a very local approach, where you will see secret media in different locations, tailored to different languages. And this helps us to provide our partners a more granular insight in terms of understanding the audience, even before you launch the event. And specifically here is an example of our secret media network or the reach in the UK market. So imagine the situation is, you have a very successful show here in London. Obviously, London is one of the greatest markets in the UK. Where to go next? Is that Manchester, Birmingham, or Edinburgh? And here is how we leverage the data to help our producers, our partners, to de-risk. We see A is how the audience, local audience, are engaging with the content. And B is before we launch this experience locally, we can do the wait list to better understand the demand as well. So that's in terms of the initial assessment. Moving to the next stage, when you already know, hey, Manchester will be a good market. They will have my ideal audiences. And then, how do we generate demand wisely? Obviously, you can definitely leverage our local reach in terms of the secret media network. However, what is more important is the secret media network is our data-driven engine for the marketing aspect. That will give us insights where will be the better performing channel, where will be the most effective channel to turn on the flywheel to reach to the audience with higher purchasing intent, and also to reach them effectively with information. So we have developed a proprietary attribution model based on user, their demographics, and then to define the channel. And here, in terms of marketing assets, actually immersive experience is such an industry we value a lot in terms of creativity. So therefore, a lot of times we will think about where is the role that data come from. However, there are many, many scenarios that you and I think there is artistically amazing asset. It doesn't resonate with the audience from a data point of view. So how can we understand better of that is to listen to the data. So one, we have the machine learning technology to identify the images in terms of a pattern. What kind of image will resonate with a customer that will have a better result in terms of the click-through to your landing page and to the event listing page. And also, we run a lot of A/B testing. We don't spend a large chunk of marketing dollars just identify one channel, but we run that more agilely to identify which performs better to have a better result. So here are some examples of A/B testing, or for the landing page as well. We have run over 150,000 experiences globally. Therefore, for the in-house, we have the experience, we have the data insights, what performs better. And this is a value that we can add, helping our partners to developing better, landing page speaks to their audiences. For this example, we see over 32% increase just over 10 days. Then, after we identify where are our audience and how do we reach to them, and what else can we optimize in terms of using data here? A lot of things, actually. Pricing, ticket tiers, sessions, also customer feedback. Here is an example of the data can tell us what is the correlation between attendance or the arrival time versus their spending. In terms of a lot of experience that we will have, not only sell tickets is the end of the story, right? But also they will have spending at the bar, at F&B, or the merch. So this is a powerful tool in terms of the data side, can holistically improve the revenue performance. Secondly, in terms of how we leverage dynamic pricing. So in terms of pricing, it's definitely not really the case that we have the highest price, we will have the most optimized revenue. It's a combination of pricing and also what is the quantity that we can achieve here. And for our experience running over 150,000 experiences, we have the model that dynamically, we will change the price and also recommend what will be the ideal price for you to achieve the best revenue without limited impact, with limited impact in terms of the volume. So next, this question I get a lot in terms of for the producers, for how can I gain access to the data or control over the data. I want to understand better in terms of my audiences for my sustainable, scalability of my event. The answer is Fever actually provide you direct access to the dashboard that will provide you the real-time data. And the data include not only ticket sales, but all the things that I've mentioned, such as food and beverage, merge, arrival time, or the attendance and the user feedbacks. Just give you some example here. So here you will see the sales performance and also what will be when the date, what is the specific hours that more people will purchasing their tickets? That is a granularity that we wanted to understand and will helpful for us to setting up the right pricing strategy. Also, there's another example is you will also get access to real-time user feedbacks, which is extreme. We see that is really, really important for immersive experience. Because for immersive experience, it's full of surprise. You want the audience to feel there is a lot of surprise. You don't want to review everything during your marketing campaign. Therefore, the word of mouth is one of the most, driving the organic content. And the user feedback, if you don't have the access to that in time, it's hard to understand what goes wrong and what goes right. And this is one of the insights that you can also get directly real time through the dashboard. And that's what we mean. You actually own your data. And we help you to better understand your audiences. So another interesting question is, Fever has a lot of successful case in terms of international expansion. And for a lot of our partners, we definitely have the vision of expanding our production to touring around internationally. How does that potentially look like? I think one of the examples that I wanted to use is the candlelight concert. For last year, one single year, we sold 5 million tickets globally, over 300 cities. However, the story behind that is more interesting because this was a prototype project in Madrid back to 2019. Just one small project. Listening to the data, found where the sweet spot that customer wanted to experience classic music, which was relatively niche before. And within 18 months, Fever has expanded candlelight concert to 80 different cities. And now it's across over 300 different cities globally. So that's one example of how the data can help us to better understand where to go next, how the local audience will react with my content, and how to scale up internationally. So today, Fever provides our technology or our unique consultative approach to across different categories. And here are some examples who we work with. Actually, we work with also sports, football club, Real Madrid, Barca, or Chelsea here locally. Also, we work with music festivals. One of the largest music festivals in Europe, Primavera Sound. Or we work with tourist attractions as well. Like one of the largest attraction in New York City, One World Observatory, attracting over 1 million visitors per year. So also immersive space, we work continuously working with Netflix. Recently, they have launched Squid Game immersive experience in New York City. I loved it, and my friend was joking, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Are people gonna die? No. It's immersive experience to bring another layer, real life connections between friends, families, people. Also, we work with Warner Brothers globally for their different properties, including Harry Potter Forbidden Forest. Maybe some of you went that one. Very exciting project globally, like a light trail experience too. So that's the end of my presentation here. And I'm definitely really excited to get to know more of you today here. Thanks a lot for this opportunity that I can share my insights from Fever side, and happy to answer your questions.
Thank you. That was such a brilliant conversation. Do we have any questions in the room? Please raise your hand. We have a couple over here.
Thank you. Wonderful presentation. My name is Victor. This looks like a holy grail. How much of my soul should I sell for it? So basically, what is the chunk of revenue that you take for partnering with you? How do you select the partners, as you're obviously looking for ones?
Well, that's a very good question and very commercial, isn't it? In terms of the commercial side, we can definitely have another conversation. I can show you a little bit more details in that regard. And in general, how we select our partners, essentially, Fever take a different approach. Traditionally, if you think about ticketing industry, it's more transactional. Like they provide you the technology and that's it. However, for us, we truly believe in partnership. That's why we get involved in the entire ecosystem. Like in terms of demand generation, and also that's why we are also obsessed in terms of the conversion of how much revenue we can achieve there. And for a partner, we will hopefully have the same ambition, vision of achieving something really big scale, or having some certain level of scalability. Thank you, Victor.
And then we have one more question over here.
Hi. We get quite a lot of bookings through other platforms like Get Your Guide and TripAdvisor. Can your ticketing system integrate with those so we can keep an eye on levels of things?
Yes. So in terms of targeting tourists, it's possible to integrate through API.
Hi, Jessie. Thanks. That was brilliant. It's a bit of a two-pronged question. Is there consultancy available from Fever in terms of launching a new product or project in terms of strategy? Because obviously you'll have access to lots of data sets. Perhaps do we have access to those if we come to you in terms of building strategy? And the other one is when you said localized sort of the secret project, if it's localized, are you able to make projections in terms of real life events? For example, half term's coming up, we project this, this and this, dependent on our data sets previously of what it's shown in London. So it's like two-pronged.
Yeah, thanks a lot for your question. So in terms of the first part, consultative approach, yes, we will also provide you, before you launching the event and basically production and what will be the ideal capacity, etc. That is what we can provide leveraging the data. And the second part, in terms of revenue projection, we will run that, but the revenue of the show depends on many different factors. One is how good is your demand generation or your ticketing technology. That is something that Fever, provide the world-class service plus, the technology itself. But also what is really important is the show production quality itself. And that's why we together will track real time what is our user feedback. And we will adjust things by using A/B testing or listening to those feedbacks through the data. So there is no necessarily a guarantee, hey, we will achieve this certain level of sales, but normally we will have a reasonable approach, a partnership to work together and towards success. Thank you.
I have two, but I'll ask one, and then we can see how it goes. How do you actually track the customer feedback? Are you actively reaching out to customers post-experience? How does that work?
In terms of how we get the data?
Yeah.
So one thing that's very important for us is definitely our secret media network, where it's almost like a social listening tool for us. See how the audience are engaging with different content. And actually, secret media is co-founded by one of our co-founders, but we intentionally keep it arm's length and having 95% of the content there is organic. It's not only a tool for us to promoting our content. Therefore, you will have better insights in terms of today, what is trending. And for instance, for Secret London, across social media, we have around 4 million followers. And that is where number one source of insights we get.
Thank you. As a first-time producer, if you're launching an experience in a city where there might not be similar data, there's not a model there, or maybe the theme is new, how would you approach getting that pre-production data for that project?
Yeah, so for the first-time producer, normally there will still be what is a concept, right? So for instance, the speaker last before me on the stage was about sports, then how people are engaging with sports, or more specifically, boxing, right? So those are the data, insights that we can get, rather than specifically, we have a immersive sports experience already, and that's a little bit different, but the concept around it. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, everybody, and thank you so much, Jessie.
Thank
That
you,
really was
everyone.
super interesting.